So, you've been having fun playing Star Citizen and your shiny new starter ship you picked. You've been busy and have made quite a bit of aUEC but don't know what to do with it next. You could buy a new ship or invest in some equipment or maybe gamble it all on cargo running. Best option I think is to buy a new ship with it. Let's see your many different options that are available. But just before I go into that, I want to point out, even though I'm going to include how much money it is to buy this ship that I do in real life, I will not be basing my ship prices on this, and I will use in-game aUEC as my reference for how much it is. I have made 5 categories of the most used types of ships in Star Citizen. You have combat, and for combat you want your combat ship to be fast, heavy hitting, maneuverable, great at handling, and preferably strong shielded. Now you may struggle to acquire all of these in one ships, but I know one which includes the most of them. Then we have a multi-ship, and this is a ship which is able to handle a bit of every task and can be used as something from your day-to-day usage. It's not going to be specialised in anything though, but it's a great ship to use if you're just trying to go out your day-to-day life in Star Citizen. Then we have your cargo or your cargo hauler. With this one, you'll want to have something with a high amount of SCU of storage and as high a shield as possible for defense, and maybe some buffed up turrets, as you won't really want to be caught with a bunch of heavy and expensive SCU of cargo and then be shot down instantly. And then we have your exploration / expedition ship, and these you will want to use to explore the game and have an incredible amount of views and go on journeys to places you are unfamiliar to. This is one of my favourite sections, but sometimes they can be on the more pricey side. And then we have your industrial ships. These are your mining and salvage, and maybe you could class fueling as one, which tend to have decent defenses in shields and high damage turrets. I've picked salvaging just because it's the most new player friendly, but you may disagree with that. Now I'm going to assume that you have between 1 to 2.5 million aUEC that you want to spend. Anything below this and it's not going to be too much of an upgrade from a starter ship like you own, and this is about the right price to be getting into a slightly larger ship but not too big. Now the way I'm going to lay out the sections is I'm going to be introducing the ship, then say the prices of it for in-game and in real life, then I'm going to do a ship tour and maybe a little handling of the ship whilst I'm doing that, then I'm going to do some combat, what weapons it has and stuff, then cargo and what ground vehicles you can fit in it, then any specific uses the ship has. Now we have to think about the combat ship. The ship I have picked is the Vanguard Sentinel, and I feel like this is the best choice, and you actually might want to keep this one even for when you have been doing combat for a while. Although it is a combat ship, it actually has quite a nice interior, and you could easily fly it for more than just combat. It is a heavy ship, so this is why it has an interior at all, and this made it a lot more pleasing compared to other combat ships when I was deciding, as it allows you to do something a little more than, well, yeah, just combat. It also does have some very hard hitting guns and quite decent maneuverability, but we'll have a look at that in a minute. Now the price of this ship is 2,012,000 aUEC, and this is located at Lawville. You cannot buy it at Area 18. And for in real life money it's $275. Now I couldn't convert it into pounds or euros, so you'll just have to do that if it ever becomes available again for in real life money. Now let's start off with a ship tour of a Vanguard Sentinel. We enter just through the back here. You have to stand back a little bit to open up the doors. It extends quite far. Now you could technically try and fit a ground vehicle up here, but you would really struggle with the way that it's placed and everything like that. Closing this up and we enter into a kind of submarine. It has a quantum drive in the back, but that's kind of all you have in this section. So let's move on towards the habitation / central part of the ship. Just straight to the left here we have access to storage. Now this is personal storage. You can kind of just put boxes in there. If you take off your helmet and put it into a box, you could store it in there and then close it up like so. That's that done. Just to the right of that we have access to a shower and toilet combined. It's quite nice. Always nice to have a shower and toilet, especially in the future when this will be required in the game. To the right of this again, and we have access to our munitions or our kind of weapon storage. Enough for 4 weapons here. It's very nice. To the left of that, and we have drinking, food making, kind of a worktop area. And then moving on just towards the main central area, and we have our 2 beds located here. This is actually a really nice feature. Some ships don't even come with a bed, so it's really nice that it comes with 2. On the other side, we have access to an engineering station. I love the design of it, but you can't currently use it yet. Be really cool when you can in the future though. Now above us here is access to our turret, which another player can use if you would like. But that's it for this section, so we walk on towards the frontal section of the ship. There's nothing located here except from a secret storage section. You could store anything from a box in there to some weapons, just anything you want really. It isn't the most useful in the game at the moment though. Going more towards the front, we have access to some components, as you can see on the sides. And then we have our main cockpit seat. Loving the design of this also, it looks very nice. I heard something about an AR control mode, so that'll be implemented in the future. And such things as decoy missiles and everything like that will be added. Now if we take a look, we have quite a nice visibility. Can't see below us very well at all, but visibility around and above us is quite nice. Let's take a look at the acceleration of a ship. This will be with a shift boost on and just going straight up and out kind of. As you can see, it's not the worst, but it is still a heavy ship, so is limited in some factors. It's nothing compared to such a light ship, but as you can see, the turning is also not too bad. Definitely compared to a light ship you can feel it, but I still really enjoy this, and I would say overall the maneuverability is quite nice. Now it's time to talk about the combat side of the Vanguard Sentinel, which in my opinion is a very good ship on this side of it. You get 4 size 2 weapons, which are repeaters. These are okay, but are not the best, and then your main weapon hardpoint is the sized 5 hardpoint with a sized 4 actual weapon attached, so this is because it has a gimbal mount. You could trade out this size 4 weapon for a cannon to deal even more damage, and it will still be on a gimbal mount, which is personally what I would do, and love it when you attach a really high power weapon to this ship. It also comes with a turret at the back. This has got 2 size 2 weapons on it. These are alright, and as if you have a friend come along, they will definitely help with fighting anyone who is willing to fight you. On top of all this, it has some missiles. It has 8 size 2 missiles and 4 size 3 missiles. The size 3 ones do actually quite a bit of damage if you can hit them, and for some reason the size 2s also deal about the same damage, which is odd, but it works very well. For shields, it comes with 2 size 2 shields, which are very good, and this is one of the reasons I also love this ship. As it is a heavy fighter, of course, size 2 shields, but it can tank a load of hits before it goes down, and then you also have your armor on top of that. Additionally, it also has a EMP drive, which is really unique about this ship, and it works within about 900 meters, and you have to go onto your MFDs, which is your little screens on your ship, click on menu, then weapons, then as you should see underneath one of your weapons, the top one is an off button. Click that on, and then when you right click, your EMP will be enabled, and then if you right click again, it'll fire it. Now this is supposed to damage their shields and maybe mess up some of their components inside, but at the moment it seems to be a little bit buggy. I don't know if this is just a me thing, but I do seem to be struggling a little bit, but when it is working, it does actually work quite well, as I've used in the past. So moving on to the multi-ships, and now this was a really tough clash between the Cutlass and the Freelancer, the default Freelancer that is, because of how similar their capabilities are. They are pretty similar, to be honest, but I do believe that the Cutlass does come in stronger at its current point in the game, and it also has these advantages over it. So number 1, it's cheaper, it holds more ground vehicles and it's easier to fit them inside the hold. It has more missiles, a more practical interior compared to stuff that's not currently in the game on the Freelancer. Greater handling as it has a VTOL feature. It has 1 size bigger turret, a higher top speed. It also has a tractor beam on the back for helping onload and offload cargo. Now there are all the advantages. There are a couple of downsides to this ship though. It does unfortunately get less SCU of cargo space, and it also has 1 less shield, which could be a big thing for you if you're going to be going into a decent bit of combat in this ship. Now if you wanted to buy this ship, it'll be 1,385,300 aUEC, and it's located at Lawville, not Area 18 though. Now for in real life money, this ship would be £88, $110, or 102.3 euros. This is without any tax. So as you know, I do love a good old ship tour, so let's do one of the Cutlass Black. Moving towards the rear of the ship, we have our entrance buttons to the left and to the right side just here. 1 there, and 1 just there. This ramp comes down with some great precision and enters up here we do. We have some seats for ground troops to the left and to the right, 6 of these, just pop down like that. And we close the door just to the right side here. Turning around, and as you can see, this is our actual ground vehicle storage and cargo bay. Now it's a very big room, and you can actually bring your ground vehicles in through here, move them to the side, and then get like double the amount you would do normally. It's a giant room here, and these 2 side doors, they do open. You cannot enter these from the ground under gravity use, but you can use them in space. They are a great way to exit your ship in case anyone is maybe waiting for you to try and board your ship when you exit. So just in case you don't want to be boarded, you can exit through them. Now this little bump here is a turret, but you enter it from the other side. It's the only thing I'd say about the cutlass which I dislike, but it's still not too bad. Entering through the left side with this door here. Closes up behind us, but then to the left of this we have that turret I was on about. To the left of the turret we have access to 2 beds for you and one other person to sit down on, or maybe you and 2 other people and do some bed rotations. To the left of this again we have access to 4 weapon racks, 1 on each one. And behind us just here we have access to 2 external internal storages. As you can see it's external storage but it's kind of internal, so yeah, whatever that is. 2 of those so for your personal needs. Now the one thing I do have to say is this room here, whilst I love the design choice of it, it's very triangle-like and I don't know how I feel about it, whether it's a nice choice or not. But anyway, that's something that I have to deal with, just sitting in a triangle, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Anyway, going towards the front we have access to 2 chairs. The back one is a co-pilot seat, front one is a pilot seat. The back one is where you'll enter into your tractor beam, which I will just show you now. You get launched up to the top, of course, you actually go really high up on this ship. Then you power it on. Ooh, looks like we've got a person over there. But then you power it on, of course, like normal, pressing U, and then you just sometimes have to wiggle around to find it, but yeah, it's... There you go, enter remote turret. And then you're on the rear of the ship right now. You can use this to onload and offload cargo. It's quite a nice feature, one that a Freelancer does not have. But that's it for a co-pilot seat. Let's move down into a pilot seat. So now we're in the pilot seat. You can see that the visibility of the ship is actually quite good. I think this is mainly because you get launched up, you can actually have quite a nice viewing platform below you. From a pilot seat you do have access to all your weapons. This is your missiles, which is 8 of each, and then also your weapons, which is 2 laser repeaters and 2 guns, and 2 ballistic ones. As you can see there. I will show you just how quickly you can actually take off. So this is with VTOL down, with a boost on, so... As you can see, it's pretty crazy, and the gravity, whilst it is a little bit lower here, it's still extremely high. I mean, look at that, it's 4,000, 5,000 meters. It's crazy how fast this ship can accelerate with the features on, which is why a lot of people love this ship. I would say that's it for a ship tour though. Now in terms of combat capabilities, this ship comes with 4 size 2 weapon hardpoints. 2 of them are ballistic and 2 of them are repeaters. When you get it stock, it comes with a turret in the middle which has 2 sized 3 laser repeaters on. This is great as a turret. It also comes with 8 size 3 missiles and 8 size 2 missiles. This is actually way more than you'll probably end up ever using, to be honest. For shields, it comes with a 1 sized 2 shield, which whilst it is a shield, it's not the best, and the Freelancer does come with a 1 size up shield. It handles way better than you think it would, and the acceleration and deceleration is absolutely great on this ship. Now for cargo storage, you either get to use 46 SCU, or reduce some of that, put some ground vehicles in it, or just do plain ground vehicles. The ground vehicles that fit in is anything below a Ursa rover really, so an ROC mining vehicle, any hover vehicle, a Drake mule, any of those vehicles fit, but nothing an Ursa rover or above. Now the cargo ship of choice I picked was the Freelancer Max, and whilst it's on the top end of the budget, it's worth it as I had an option of 3 ships really. I had the Freelancer Max, the Raft and the Hull A. Whilst the other 2 were good contenders, you would be losing out on making not nearly as much per run. For example, if you had a full load of Laranite, you'd make 36,000 less with the Hull A than you would do with a Freelancer Max. Now the price of a ship in game is 2,181,500 aUEC, and that's brought from Lorville, not Area 18. And if you wanted to buy it within real life money, it would be £120, $150 or 139.5 euros. And now we have our cargo ship of choice, the Misk Freelancer Max. Now we have 2 entrances into this ship, one of them are located just at the back here, and one of them are a ladder located towards the front there, which is the one you'll normally use. I'll just use the back cargo entrance just for ease of progressing throughout this ship. Now as you can see, this is quite an extended cargo bay and is very, very wide. The only thing which limits you for putting certain vehicles in is this little turret out bit. Other than that though, it can fit quite a wide array of vehicles in here. That also means that you can fit a bunch of cargo in here. I mean, look at the size of this cargo bridge. It's 120 SCU in total, and for me, that's quite a lot, and will get you quite a bit of aUEC. There's also cargo held in this room here with a docking collar above you. progressing more towards the front of a ship. And here we enter into the habitation. To the left side just here we have access to drink, food makers, all that stuff, but that doesn't currently work yet. To the other side we have access to our lavatories, so our toilet, shower combined. Always nice to have one of these. To the left of this we have access to a computer which will be usable in the future, and then our door just here. This is our entrance that I was on about earlier, which you can open up just like so. Moving more towards the front of the ship again, we have access to our 4 beds, which actually double as escape pods. Now you cannot currently use the escape pods, but it means that you could have 4 people sleeping here if you really wanted to. And at the very front of the ship we have our cockpit. We have access to 4 chairs. One of them at the front is the only one that does something. This is the pilot's seat, of course. As you can see, we still have a very sleek design and backwards seated positions in this ship, which means that your view is slightly hindered towards this section located here. You do have a nice viewing board above you, and to your left and to your right you can see relatively well. It's not all the best, but it's still something that you can work with. Now I'll just do a small acceleration test from the ground with boost on. As you can see, it's actually not too bad for a cargo ship and a ship of this size. This is with a boost on though, so do take that into account. And I'll just quickly show how much quantum fuel it has. Now that number there, that's quite a lot. It can probably get you to here and back a couple of times, yeah, which is a really far away point. The maneuverability of it is okay. As you can see though, turning, well, it's just okay. This is under gravity use, and whilst it can allow you to do some fighting, it isn't the best and it's quite wobbly sometimes. But this is quite a big ship and a cargo ship, so not made for fighting. Now talking about the combat and stock, this ship comes with 4 sized 3 laser cannons, which in my opinion are quite good for this ship. Even though you might struggle to get your crosshairs on your target because of how slow this thing turns, if you can hit shots it will deal quite a bit of damage. You do have your turret in the back which holds 2 size 2 laser repeaters, these are also quite good. Now for missiles, it has 4 size 2 missiles and 4 sized 3 missiles. This is nothing too bad either, but just a general nice amount. For shields, and this is one thing the Freelancer series does good, and it has 2 size 2 shields, which is quite a bit of HP and it will definitely allow you to tank a few hits. As you also just saw in the background footage, but you can fit an Ursa rover in here, which is a great bonus in my opinion. Now, when it comes to exploration / expedition ships, quite a lot of them are either quite expensive for our price range or not yet in the game, so with what there is, you only really have the Freelancer variant, the Freelancer DUR. This ship comes with a higher quantum capacity and hydrogen fuel capacity to the other Freelancers, and it does lose some cargo space from a default one though to make way for this. There is other things added to it, but don't currently work in the game yet, so they're not worth mentioning, but it will be upgraded in the future. And talking about the price of this ship, and in-game it's 1,967,600 aUEC, and that's brought from Lawville, not Area 18. And for in real life money, it's £108, $135 and 125.55 euros. Now starting off with a ship tour of a Freelancer DUR, and we have access to 2 entrances. One of these are located at the rear, which is where your vehicles will also go in, and then one of them are located at the front, which is where the ladder is, just over there. Usually we use the ladder, but I'll use the cargo entrance at the rear just for ease of walking throughout the ship. You open it up just by looking at it and clicking. You don't need to press any buttons for this one. A little bit of a jump for me, but jumping into here, this is where your main cargo hold is, and also where your turret is located. Closing that up behind me, but as you can see just up there is our turret. You just have to look at it and bring it down. And then here's where our cargo is held, just in the centre. Walking on through this section here, it's also where you have your component access. But going through here, we go through a little airlock door, and this is where your extended hydrogen and quantum fuel is. As you can see, 2 little bits here. This is usually also filled up with cargo, but they've traded it out. This is one of the things that Freelancer DUR does extra. Moving through here, and this is normally on the Freelancer, but it's kind of another airlock section. You can dock to other ships up here, and there's also a little bit of cargo storage. Walking through into the living quarters again though, and straight to our left we have access to kind of our water making facilities and drinks and food and all that cool stuff. Can't use it yet though. To the left side and we have access to our shower. This is also a toilet combined. It feels a little bit off that you have to walk up a step to get into it, but I understand why they've done this. To the left of this again we have access to another computer. This will be usable in the future, but just not right now. To our behind them, this is where the ladder is to exit and enter the ship. Closing that one up though. And to the left again, we have to our right and to our left, 2 sets of beds on either side. These double as escape pods, but just remember you can't use escape pods yet. Moving towards the front of the ship, and we have access to the cockpit. We have 4 seats, 2 on either side. 2 back seats are just support seats. We have our co-pilot seat, and then we have access to our pilot seat. Sitting down into our pilot seat though, and you may be able to see already that the visibility isn't the best in here. Looking to our left and to our right though, you can see quite well there, but looking above you only have a little viewing port, and below is even worse. Now there is like, your kind of nose is sticking out, that's your main problem. You're not sitting far enough forward in the ship. If you can get over that though, this is honestly a great ship which is to use as a exploration ship. You'll have great good fun. Just showing how quickly you can take off with a shift boost down. As you can see it's okay, but it's not as quick as something like the Cutlass Black. When you do want to go on a beeline forward though, you can pick up speeds pretty quickly. The manoeuvrability of the ship is alright. It's not anything to be praised over, but it'll sustain you for combat. As you can see, the turning circle is sometimes a little wide for under gravity use. For combat, this ship doesn't actually get too bad of a loadout. It gets 4 laser repeaters, which are sized 3, which in my opinion are pretty good for an exploration ship. On the turret on the back, which is manned, you get 2 laser repeaters of size 2. These are also alright. It comes with 4 size 3 missiles and 4 size 2 missiles. These are decent and will definitely get you out of some situations if you can use them correctly. It gets 2 size 2 shields, which is the same as found on the other Freelancers, and in my opinion is pretty good. Now for cargo space, the Freelancer DUR gets 36 SCU. This is nearly half the amount the normal Freelancer gets, but it could be worth it if you want the extended quantum fuel, and could be worth the purchase. You can fit most hover vehicles in there, and you can stack them forward and forward, so you can maybe get a few in there. Some ground vehicles will fit, but not an Ursa rover or anything above that. Now because this vehicle is an exploration vehicle, it does have the extended quantum fuel as I've said. Now this will get you from 2 of the furthest points in the game away from each other multiple times, so I think you'll probably end up dying and claiming your ship before you've run out of fuel in my opinion. So it's really good if you do a lot of travelling. Even if you're doing cargo hauling, it could be a worthy purchase. Now for industrial, you had an option of either mining or salvaging ships. Now I know that they are 2 completely different things, but I would honestly recommend a newer person start off with salvaging, just for how much easier it is to start and to get into, and also that you don't have to have another ship with cargo or go off and refine cargo in stations. So for salvage, you have a Vulture. This is a great 1-person salvage ship, and you can make quite a decent amount of SCU per run, definitely a lot compared to any of the other trade routes at this kind of aUEC you're spending. If you wanted to purchase this ship in game, it's 1.264 million aUEC. So starting off with a ship tour of the Vulture, and we actually have 2 entrances. We either have a main ramp at the back over here, or we have a ladder going straight up into the cockpit over there. I'll take the main ramp at the back just for ease of use, but you could take the other one, which I think most people would normally do. You could technically put a ground vehicle up here, but I assume if you're buying this you most likely won't. But as you can see, the sizes here. Closing this to the right or to the left, nice little ramp. Straight away we have where our 12 SCU of cargo is to be held on 2x3 on 2 rows. This locks the grid there. Now just in front of us here is where we will create, and our cargo will be ejected, so we can create our stuff on the right and then our cargo is ejected just there, then we put it onto there of course. There's components over to the left, and then just over here is a door which has a ladder on the other side, which will take us nicely and swiftly up towards the 2nd floor. In this small room here we have access to 2 weapons and 3 smaller weapon holders, a personal storage where you can put boxes and stuff that you would like to put in there, a couple of components to the left, and then nothing else. So going through the other door that's located here. And straight away we have our bed to the right, just in case you want to log out or anything like that. Behind here this is our components again, and a workbench just there. There is also a toilet and shower combined just to the left of the bed. Always nice to have one of these even though you can't use them. And then to the left of this we have access to the cockpit. In the cockpit we have components to the right and to the left, and here is the door that I was on about that you would enter from mainly. As you can see, you can walk straight out and onto the left side of the Vulture. You can walk all along the arm if you would like, but you can't really access the right side of the Vulture. But walking back into here, and I'll just enter back into the pilot seat. As you can see, the visibility is alright for a salvage ship. And you can see it all around you to your left and to your right, and in front of you, which is the main part that you'll want to be able to see. The acceleration from a ground point of view, I'll just do it with a boost acceleration. As you can see, it's not too bad, no mind-bending speeds, but it's still quite good. So I'll just quickly describe how you activate the fracturing and salvage modes, but you press M to activate the mining mode, then this has both your beams activated. You right click to select between these, press G and then you'll enter a free mode where you can kind of wiggle around them at your own will, and then G again to undo this. To activate the kind of disassembly mode, press Alt plus W. This will switch it onto it, and then you can right click and then you'll be able to fracture things. If you want to know how this properly works, there you can go and have a look at my review for it, but it takes a little while to get your head around it. Using the Vulture is a great money maker in Star Citizen. If you have just 6 cargo, you make 36,000 aUEC, and with a full load you make 72,000 aUEC. That's using your salvaged stuff that you've made. Now I know this has been a very long video, but I do much appreciate it if you've watched it until this point. Thank you very much. And that's me, Duffer, out.